We are New Tingri 13780 elevation, lining up, one honk, off we go. Today we are leaving New Tingri for Xigaze, which is lower at 12,400 feet. Since it is lower, food can be grown in Xigaze and hence it is known as the breadbasket of Tibet. But first, we must climb to a pass at 16,000 feet. On my left is Bum River, actually called Bum Chu. This river also flows from Tibet into Nepal, flows by Kanchenjunga, the third tallest peak in the world. Then it drains into Kosi River system in India, that finally drains into Ganga River. Kosi River is known to have floods from time to time. Hard to believe these small waters of Bum Chu on my left will cause floods downstream. As we climb the Tibetan plateau, Bum Chu has disappeared and snow has appeared. Russ is having to add another layer as temperatures have dropped. We are now at the top of continental divide of Tibet, meaning any rivers from this point on will drain into Brahmaputra River. But Bum Chu seen previously will go into Ganga. That Trishuli River we saw at the border crossing a few days ago also goes into Ganga.
Sorry. No.
So Russell and I are in Tibet, and see on the back is Himalayas with some snowstorm coming.
We go to get on.
For the last several days we have had clear skies with bright sun. Toward Xigaze and Lhasa it looks good, but looking back to west where we came from, it seems a storm has been gaining on us all along. A little concerning to me regarding mountain obscuration, but then Mount Everest doesn't happen for another 5 days. Getting close to Xigaze, you can see a lot more greenery. You can see the greenhouses for watermelons here. Raincoat's coming out, but I'm safe in my van. Or am I? My van has been leased to my driver by the government. As a result, the van has 2 movie cameras in it. One in the front, looking back at payload, which would be me, and the other camera is on the right of the screen, looking at the driver and the front row. Chinese government can turn on the camera whenever they want. They probably can listen in as well, so you have to be careful. Completely overcast skies now. Nice tall poplars, everything grows here by Tibet standards. When Tibetans die, they opt for sky burial like Zoroastrians from 200 BC did in ancient Persia, from Cyrus the Great's times, at their Tower of Silence. The dead body is taken to some remote mountain location and cut up by a special person called Tokden and fed to vultures. We are leaving Xigaze now for Lhasa. Lhasa and Xigaze both are big cities by Tibetan standards, 600,000 and 800,000 respectively. Expect more traffic. Total population of Tibet is 6 million, so it's still mostly rural. The 2-lane highway will run parallel to Brahmaputra River that is known as Yarlung Zangbo here in Tibet. They also have a railroad along Brahmaputra. The train is electric but not high-speed rail. 2 trains in the morning and 2 in the evening between Xigaze and Lhasa. You will need to hop on to another train from Lhasa to Shanghai that will take 2 to 3 days and has oxygen spigots in it. That would be a new train station coming up. Although this 2-lane highway was constructed in 2011, due to high commerce, China is now building a 4-lane divided highway along Brahmaputra. You can see various tunnels, often one tunnel for eastbound lanes, one for westbound lanes, and yet another tunnel for train tracks going through mountains. All these train tracks, multiple highways, new and old, power lines, etc. along Brahmaputra resemble a neurovascular bundle into Tibet. This means they have to build lots of crisscrossing bridges. So much construction is going on that they find it best to open cement factories right there on location. Part of the modernization of Tibet is also helping native Tibetans to complain less about their freedom or lack thereof and enjoy the amenities. This is how the Tibetans lived in 1890s, but starting with Chairman Mao in 1959, they have been provided modern housing, electricity, and a patch of land so that they can farm. Schools emphasize Mandarin. Minimal English is taught and no Tibetan is taught. So only the villagers and the elderly speak Tibetan today. Tibetan children up to age 15 at home like to speak Mandarin and not Tibetan, although they do understand Tibetan. Tibetan culture is changing. Our van is Ford Changli. So far we saw only Chinese electric cars, but now I am starting to see some Teslas as well. They are made in China, but nonetheless, Tesla is an American company. I think the reason you are seeing Teslas here is because Tesla has supercharging stations in Lhasa, Xigaze, and New Tingri, but only 2 charging stalls per supercharger. The light came on? Oh, the battery went flat. Alternator is not charging the battery, I guess?
Yeah, it's not charging.
Push start here to get Clint back on the road to save time, as we are now close to Lhasa. This gave the crew time to get the new battery out that they swapped with the next failure. That night, the crew put in a new alternator in.
New battery already in.
Did not want to delay the entire group.
Yeah. I think tonight they're going to swap the alternator.
Swap the alternator.
Yeah.
Here we have entered Lhasa. In the background you can see the famous Potala Palace that we will visit tomorrow. Once we were in Lhasa, this time it was Muzz's motorcycle that had to fail. But this time we could not stop to help him because 8 cameras were looking at us at any given time. Can't pull over. So at a red light, the crew jumped off and pushed the motorcycle back to our hotel, which was not too far, while Muzz rode behind another rider. This delayed us by an hour getting back into our hotel, and hence the check-in was delayed. That is why everyone is applauding when we rolled in.
Good job.